After the divorce, I threw myself completely into my acting career, besides agreeing to set aside time each week to be with our child. My ex-husband and I had no contact, until I unexpectedly came across Benjamin's social media account. He had actually become a parenting blogger with millions of followers. Over 3 years, I watched him skillfully change diapers and feed formula to our child, turning a babbling baby into a well-behaved, thoughtful little angel of a son. In his latest video, our son asked, "Why can't mom be with me every day like you?" Benjamin paused for a moment, then earnestly told him, "Because she is herself first, then your mother." I traced the screen, quietly feeling the flutter spreading from my heart. Had a child, got divorced. Clearly, the story had come to an end, yet I was only just beginning to feel drawn to this man. Chapter 1. Benjamin and I had a business marriage alliance, married for 2 years, yet still strangers. Just as I was starting to make a name for myself in the acting world, my dad cut off all my resources, nearly shelving me, with no other choice. I had to follow my dad's plan and agree to the marriage alliance, and Benjamin was the best choice. He wasn't interested in love, but he needed an heir. We agreed to divorce as soon as the baby was born, to get back to filming as soon as possible. I clung to him every night in bed. Our bodies burned and tangled, but our hearts were cold and distant. After countless fierce nights, we silently turned over and drifted apart. Soon, I gave birth to a boy. After hiring a well-known expert to calculate his birth chart, Benjamin named him Jonathan, with the nickname Nate. He cared deeply about our son, and that was enough. After Nate turned 1, we went to get our divorce papers. I don't know how Benjamin explained it to the Jean family, but they didn't raise any objections. Even Jin's mother looked at me with a subtle mix of pity and guilt. They promised me that the Jean family would do their best to support my career and always have my back. Of course, I accepted without hesitation. To be fair, Benjamin has been a responsible husband and father. As for my dad, since Benjamin was the one who initiated the divorce and the child was born, it only strengthened the alliance between the two families. He couldn't control me anymore. He just stayed silent for a long time, his voice calm. "Jasmine, you're just like your mom, heartless." Heartless? My mom was once one of the top ballet dancers in the country, with a bright future ahead, but she was forced to give up her career and marry my dad. The difference is, she had secretly admired my dad for many years, so in a way, she got what she wanted. My dad comes from a traditional, conservative family and received elite education from a young age, so he's always had a business mindset focused on self-interest. He wanted his wife to take care of the household and the kids, not to be out there showing off. After my mom married him, her lively, playful spirit slowly faded, leaving behind only the composed and gracious shell of a good wife. After giving birth to me, I became her only emotional refuge, until my dad asked for another son to carry on the family legacy. My mom stared at him in silence and asked, "What about our daughter?" Of course, a marriage alliance. That's the responsibility she must take on to enjoy a comfortable life. He replied matter-of-factly. He answered matter-of-factly, "Isn't that what our marriage was about too? You should have been prepared for this all along." At that moment, the last bit of hope she had for this man was completely shattered. She finally realized how absurd it was to give up her career for him, so she didn't want me to follow in her footsteps. My mom chose to divorce decisively, despite everyone's objections. The day she left the country, I was only 5 years old and cried, asking her if she didn't want me anymore. She knelt down, looking at me with both sadness and tenderness. "Jasmine, you will be my only child in this life. I love only you and will support you unconditionally. It's not that I don't want you. It's just that mom wants to live for herself once. You'll understand when you grow up." She stepped onto the stage once again, shining so brightly that the whole world cheered for her. Several times, when my dad poured tea and saw her smile on the TV, he would be stunned for a long moment. He didn't even notice the tea spilling over the cup. She led by example, telling me never to give up my career for anyone. Nate was born after I carried him for 10 months. How could I not love him? Even through countless sleepless nights caused by pregnancy after effects. When I see him sleeping peacefully, that tiny bundle softens my heart completely. But he's not my whole world. I have my own dreams and ambitions. I made the same choice my mother did. And I fully understood her. He will be my only child. And my motherly love will never be missing. This was also the agreement between Benjamin and me. On the day we got the divorce papers, his only request was that I set aside time each week to come back to the old house to be with our son. And if I really couldn't, at least have a video call. I nodded without hesitation. This is my responsibility as a mother. I never expected him to care about our child this much. He even became a parenting blogger. We'd been married for 2 years. But aside from being intimate, we barely interacted. I wasn't interested in his private life at all. So when I accidentally stumbled upon the video, I was stunned for a long time. It turned out that during the year after I gave birth to Nate and was busy with acting classes and keeping up with industry news while getting back in shape, Benjamin had taken on the role of childcare nanny. He personally changed Nate's diapers, fed him formula, and soothed him to sleep, so that when I came home, I had plenty of time to rest. I just assumed he was dutifully doing his job as a nanny, but I overlooked the bruises Benjamin had at the time. Chapter 2. Since I started following Benjamin's account with a secondary profile, I couldn't help but find myself looking at him more and more. Benjamin not only takes care of Nate's daily needs down to the smallest detail but also teaches him well. Every time we meet, the first thing he says when he throws himself into my arms is, "Mom, work must be tough." He holds no resentment or distance toward my busy schedule, only understanding and respect. Even if he hates being apart from me, he just looks at me with red eyes and says he'll think about me every day. Behind this well-behaved and sensible side is surely Benjamin's countless moments of guidance and the values he's instilled. He never brushes off Nate's wild emotions and questions. Instead, he responds thoughtfully, breaking down how the world works to teach him. He encourages him to read classical literature and learn history, so their 3-year-old son already understands many important life lessons. The comment section often has remarks like these. It took me most of my life to understand this truth, but he grasped it at 3 years old. Parents' education really is crucial. Some are curious, why is there no sign of the mother in the videos? Benjamin replies, in our family, the mother works outside while the father stays home. Mom earns the living. I take care of the child. Many people have become his fans, and his mysterious wife is often envied. That stubborn girl, busy all day outside, then comes home to a stay-at-home dad husband and an angel son warming the bed. Her face must be all smiles, right? Really? Congratulations to you. And jokingly saying, natural birth isn't exactly quick and easy. The country does encourage having kids, so I want this. I'm willing to take it on myself, though the truth isn't really like that. But sometimes these comments make my face flush. When I see the term stay-at-home dad, the first image that comes to mind is Benjamin wearing a black turtleneck cashmere sweater, cooking steak in the kitchen. Every time I go back to the old house, he always prepares a big spread with all the dishes Nate and I love. Though I'm surprised, I don't ask about it, since he's always been a thoughtful and considerate person. Benjamin's greatest strength is leading by example when it comes to raising our son. At the playground, he carries essentials like wet wipes and a thermos in one hand, holds the sunshade for me with the other, and even gets our son to carry my bag before I can refuse. He explains it's so Nate can learn by watching, developing habits of caring for and respecting women. Countless times, I found myself amazed by his thoughtful care, and before I realized it, the distance between us had gently closed, as if we had truly become a family. And quietly, he claimed a small corner deep inside my heart. After wrapping up a sunglasses commercial for a certain brand, I sat in the nanny van, catching up on the latest episode on my tablet. In the video, Nate's eyes were a little red. The mom of the girl who sits next to me takes her to and from school every day. Why can't my mom be like you and be with me every day? Benjamin paused for a moment, then earnestly told him, because she is first herself. Then your mom, she's an independent, free person. Everyone has their own dreams to chase. Just like your dream is to become an outstanding entrepreneur. If neither I nor your mom supported you and asked you to give up that dream to follow our plans, would you be happy? Nate sniffed and shook his head. Not happy. Likewise, you can't expect mom to give up her dreams just to revolve around you. As her family, we should support her, right? Their son was quickly comforted and soon beamed with joy. He hugged Benjamin affectionately. Then Dad, don't you have dreams? Benjamin's voice was steady and low. I want to be the tallest tree in the forest, watching you and Mom soar like free eagles, flying high and far. When you get tired, the first thing you'll see is me, so you can rest safely on my branches. I'll shelter you from the wind and rain until you're full of energy to start your next journey. Every word he spoke landed clearly and powerfully in my ears, like a drum beat, pounding heavily on my heart. I traced the screen, quietly feeling the flutter spreading from my chest. Had a child, got divorced. Even though we've reached the end of the story, yet I was only just beginning to feel drawn to this man. Chapter 3. Back at the hotel, I held my phone, hesitating for a long time before finally making the call. When that familiar voice came through, my heart skipped a beat instantly. Usually calm and composed in front of all kinds of death scenes, here in this private space, I felt like a girl experiencing first love, completely at a loss. My voice is a little hoarse. Nate, are you asleep? Benjamin didn't reply right away. It was only then that I realized it was already 10 o'clock at night, and Nate always goes to bed promptly at 9:30. Aw, sorry. I just noticed the time. Sorry to bother you. I just missed the kid a bit. My awkward excuse made me nervously scratch my flushed face. Actually, I'll be back at the old residence to see them tomorrow. But right now, I just suddenly wanted to hear his voice. That's all. Then I won't keep you any longer. Goodbye. He seemed to chuckle softly, his voice gentle. See you tomorrow. Those few short words somehow carried a lingering tenderness, like two lovers quietly looking forward to their date the next day. My face flushed, and I quickly hung up the phone. My calm heartbeat began to quicken again, faint but unmistakable. I tossed and turned all night, my mind buzzing with excitement as if fueled by adrenaline. The next day, when the Jean family driver came to pick me up, I put on sunglasses. When we arrived at the old residence, Mr. and Mrs. Jean, who had originally gone abroad for a trip, had also returned. Mrs. Jean noticed the faint blue shadows under my eyes and asked with concern, "Have you been working too hard on your acting lately? Make sure to get some rest." Benjamin looked over when he heard that, and the moment our eyes met, I quickly turned my head away. I didn't want him to see me looking so worn out right now. I just didn't sleep well last night. But it's okay. I'll go play with Nate for a while first. I stood up and hurried away. Mr. Jean and Mrs. Jean exchanged a glance, silently taking the same side. Benja, did you bully someone again? Benjamin was left speechless. Chapter 4. I was playing with blocks with Nate in the toy room. He suddenly asked me, "Mom, did Dad do something wrong?" I was taken aback. "Why do you say that?" "Because I saw Dad today. Restless and uneasy. Just like when I got a 0 on the test next to me and was scared to go home and get scolded." I felt helpless. Nate sighed with a wisdom beyond his years. "Even though Dad can be pretty clueless sometimes and talks back to Grandpa, can you please not scold him? At least for my sake?" I was a bit surprised and about to ask more when Benjamin's voice came from the doorway. "Nate, what bad things are you saying about me now?" Nate immediately put on an innocent face. "No, Dad. I'm actually saying good things about you. If you don't believe me, ask Mom." Benjamin shifted his gaze to my face and cleared his throat softly. "Nate has recently taken a liking to butter cookies. I'm planning to bake some. Do you want me to bring some back for you?" I nodded without thinking. He said okay and turned to head to the kitchen. Before long, Nate got sleepy and took a nap. I closed his bedroom door and then came to the kitchen. Benjamin was wearing a dark apron, standing tall, his sleeves rolled up, revealing a small section of his forearm with faint veins showing. He was completely focused, mixing the butter and powdered sugar together. I stood at the door for a long time, unable to resist starting a conversation. Do you need any help?" His back stiffened for a moment, but when he turned around, he had already regained his composure. "No need. You should go rest. It'll be done soon." I held back the awkwardness of not knowing where to put my hands and feet, trying my best to act natural. "I want to learn." He paused slightly, a smile appearing in his eyes. "All right. I'll teach you." But the chaotic rhythm of my heartbeat made my hands a little unsteady too. He looked at my face, comically covered in flour, and said with a helpless sigh, "Let me handle this." I just wanted to get away quickly and didn't notice the egg I'd stepped on and broken. My foot slipped, and just as I was about to fall face first, I closed my eyes and instinctively grabbed Benjamin. But unexpectedly, he fell before I did. I landed on top of him completely unharmed, except our lips were pressed together. Benjamin's pale pupils suddenly contracted, his long lashes trembling, his ears flushed bright red in an instant. My first thought was, we already have a child, and yet he's still so innocent. Benja, you. Mrs. Jean happened to walk in on the scene and was instantly left speechless. I immediately got up and hurriedly waved my hand. No, we. She said nothing, clutching her chest as she silently closed the kitchen door behind us. My footsteps were several times faster than usual. I didn't even dare to look at Benjamin, frozen like a stone statue, muttered an apology, and then ran away. Chapter 5. Only after returning to the apartment did I dare to take a deep breath. The next day, the driver brought the tablet I left at the old residence yesterday, along with a box of butter cookies. The assistant brought over the fat loss meals the nutritionist planned for me and quietly asked, "Sis, did you check the recent schedule I sent you yesterday?" I didn't have time. I'm looking at it now. I took out my tablet and studied it carefully, frowning. Since when did I sign up for a dating reality show? The assistant quickly explained. This was Eva's arrangement. Eva is my agent. The boss of the agency I signed with is friends with my mom, so I've always had good opportunities. Eva often sighs that Camila, who debuted alongside me, has already reached the top tier. If I hadn't gotten married and had a child, then semi-retired for 2 years, I'd definitely be more popular than her now. I called her. I know you're in a hurry, but you can't just accept every offer that comes your way. I'm an actor, I should be focusing on my work. What's the deal with joining a dating reality show? Eva was a bit frustrated, like she was disappointed in me. Don't you get the nature of this show? This is the first time a top director is trying a live-streamed dating reality show pairing celebrities with top professionals from various fields. Every celebrity who's been on his show has become a huge hit. It's less a dating reality show and more like a capital screening pool. I know you just want to act, but you need fame first, otherwise. Who's going to take you seriously? Jasmine, you and Camila were always compared back then. You used to have a slight edge over her. But now? The entertainment industry is a fast-paced world where fame and fortune constantly shift. There are always people pushing their way in. If you don't fight for it, someone else will. This time, among the celebrity guests, there's Camila and Luis. And among the ordinary guests, there's CEO Benjamin from the C family, a well-known lawyer. I looked up. Wait, did you say Benjamin? Eva was also amazed, right? Someone like him actually came to participate in a dating reality show. I heard he and Camila are childhood sweethearts. He's here just for Camila. She only knew it was an arranged marriage, but didn't realize that the person I was arranged to marry was Benjamin. I was 8 months pregnant then, and my mom had flown back to see me. We went out to eat and were unexpectedly caught by paparazzi. That's how the secret marriage was exposed, and I ended up being heavily criticized because of it. Since then, to protect Nate, I've been extremely cautious, never sharing my private life lightly. I closed my eyes and reflected. I hadn't paid much attention to Benjamin's social circle before, but I knew, more or less, that he had connections with Camila. Back then, Camila and I were part of the same film crew. I played the lead female role, and she was the second female lead. It was this historical drama that really helped me make a name for myself. Once, Benjamin seemed to have come to visit Camila's class, and while the staff were gossiping, I caught a bit of it. Later, after Benjamin and I got married, we saw Camila again at Benjamin's grandmother's house. Grandma was very close and affectionate with Camila. She really liked this younger generation. At first, I had no interest in his private life. Whether he liked Camila or not was none of my concern. But now, it's different. Eva kept babbling on, so I cut her off and stuffed a sweet, crispy cookie into my mouth. I've signed up for this dating reality show. Watch your calories. Don't eat those. What did you say? I smiled faintly. I said I'm going. Chapter 6. On the show, Benjamin and I weren't surprised to see each other at all. The moment our eyes met, we simply gave each other a polite nod. Once everyone was gathered, the first segment was self-introductions. Following the order of appearance, After lawyer Diego and top beauty blogger Monica introduced themselves, it was Luis's turn. He smiled at the camera. I guess you could call me a slash youth. Besides being an actor and singer, I also run a trendy clothing store, and I've opened my own hot pot and dessert shops. At that moment, the comments flooded in saying, Luis is truly a multi-talented and accomplished star. I definitely have to go support him. A single short-sleeve shirt costs over $1,000. A bag of bread is $108. Your brother really knows how to milk the fans dry. What are you jealous of? Upstairs? Fans can afford to pay. We're willing. What's it to you? When the ancient romance drama Phoenix starring Luis and Me aired, its popularity skyrocketed. Later, he teamed up with Camila for the idol drama Destined Love, which also became a huge hit. After that, he was constantly invited to variety shows, released songs, held concerts, and grabbed all the attention. He became one of the hottest male stars in the entertainment industry. Besides that, he's really good at hyping the ship. Whenever they promote together on screen, he always sprinkles little sweet moments for the ship fans in every detail. There's nothing wrong with promoting the show, but in other situations where they should keep some distance, his occasional loving gazes and the subconscious reaching out of his hand only to quickly pull it back have the ship fans crying out in heartbreak and affection. During the applause, I definitely caught a fleeting look of speechlessness on Camila's politely smiling face. When it was Benjamin's turn, his introduction was brief and powerful. Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Jean. Seeing that he had no intention of continuing, Camila quickly jumped in. Hi everyone, I'm actor Camila. Looking forward to spending the next month with you all. One after the other, they had everyone in the bullet comments going crazy shipping them. Director Jean must have come here for us. Camila, I heard they were childhood sweethearts, but Camila is career-driven, and Director Jean didn't want to make things hard for her, so he never confessed. Compared to some actress named Lynn, it's obvious who's better. In real life, a powerful CEO only likes a woman who matches him. There's no need to both praise and criticize. Jasmine Lynn getting married isn't like she's digging up your family's grave, right? Besides, she hasn't completely given up her career, she's just taking a 2-year break. Since returning, she's been working hard and very dedicated. No one she's worked with has said anything bad about her. Is it possible she only came back to the entertainment industry to make money after the divorce? She doesn't learn her lesson, acting properly. No, she goes on a dating reality show. This lady can't live without a man. TSK. Say whatever you want, but be careful not to get muted. Posts saying bad things about her always disappear quickly. I don't even know where these so-called insiders come from. So jealous seeing others get such great opportunities, right? For someone like Luis who only rides on female celebrities to hype himself up, you call him talented. Yet those female stars get unfairly criticized. Is it just me? I keep feeling that Director Jin's voice sounds a lot like the parenting blogger I follow. After I finished my self-introduction, the director looked at the flood of bullet comments and was practically grinning from ear to ear. The guests were all carefully handpicked by him, each bringing their own buzz. No matter who ends up paired with whom, the chemistry will definitely spark huge excitement. After all, the audience loves watching these intense confrontations. Chapter 7. We moved into the same seaside villa, and soon the first date arrived. The director's team prepared a black box filled with gifts from the male guests, and the 3 female guests decided the picking order themselves. Camila was the first to raise her hand, looking politely yet awkwardly at me and Monica. Can I choose first? Aw, she's so generous and confident, going after what she wants herself. I just don't know if Camila wants to pick the quietly devoted childhood friend or the perfectly synced unexpected partner. So excited. Hee. Please, make sure to pick Director Jean. Who wouldn't want to choose first? Isn't that a bit unfair to the other female guests? Camila has asked for their opinions before. If they disagree, why not just say so openly and honestly? Monica and I exchanged a glance and smiled in agreement. She's very emotionally intelligent. There didn't seem to be any spark for the male guests in her eyes, only enthusiasm for gaining followers and promoting herself. It doesn't matter who chooses first, because this date is called heart to heart. I jumped in, then let's settle it with rock paper scissors later, perfectly matching the name of this dating reality show. Love has its own destiny. The atmosphere suddenly eased, and everyone broke into relieved smiles. Camila stood before the black box, exhaled softly, then reached her hand inside. She held her breath, concentrating as she felt around for a long moment. Then a faint smile curved her lips, her eyes lighting up. The bullet comments froze in that instant. Everyone watched intently as her hand slowly moved outward. After a few seconds, she pulled out a small, square, delicate box. On closer look, her expression stiffened slightly. I recognized it immediately, Luis's new physical album. The whole family burst out laughing. A male celebrity gave his own album as a gift on his first date. How self-absorbed can you get? How is this any different from giving your own photo book? He dares to give it. But I wouldn't even want to look at it. Ha 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 ha. This vinyl record is really expensive. You know, it's now been hyped up to over 10,000. Even if we wanted to buy it, we couldn't. Such a heartfelt gift turned into your joke? Exactly. Fans are already in tears. If he gave me one, I'd seriously marry him on the spot. Hello. Does this female celebrity even care about this? Don't you guys know how bad your brother's singing is? I think it's the kind of thing people wouldn't even want to clean up after. Aw, I don't care. The ship I'm rooting for is real. If we weren't professionals, it would be hard to hold back laughter. I secretly pinched myself to keep the smile from spreading. Camila quickly regained her composure, forcing a smile for the camera. Such a thoughtful gift. I really like it. Thank you. Subtext, so gross. I'm throwing this in the trash as soon as I get home. Seriously, you want it but can't even get it, haters. Stop being jealous, okay? Guided by the staff, Camila set off with a heavy heart toward the date location. Monica and I took turns stepping forward to choose by playing rock, paper, scissors. She chose a delicate little fox ornament, and the simple gift made her smile feel more genuine. I went up last and pulled out a jasmine crystal ball. I was momentarily taken aback. My fan club name is Jasmine, but Camila once wore a pale, high-fashion gown inspired by jasmine flowers to a red carpet event, which became one of her most memorable moments. Pure and gentle, like Jasmine was also a tagline from her studio that went viral. So, who exactly is this gift for? The male guest who gave this gift must be a fan of our ship. Seriously, why don't you apply for a patent on jasmine flowers worldwide? I remember it was our Camila who made jasmine popular, right? Exactly. This is obviously a gift from Director Jean to Camila. We're childhood sweethearts in mutual pursuit. Sigh. Director Jean is going to be disappointed now. Chapter 8. After getting in the car, I looked out the window, but inside I wasn't as calm as I seemed. On one hand, I felt uneasy about the controversy surrounding this gift, not that he gave it, or that it was meant for me. On the other hand, I carried a quiet hope, just like the name of this date, wishing we truly shared a special connection, until I stepped out of the car and saw that all too familiar figure. It was like tossing a small stone into a lake, sending ripples spreading layer upon layer. We looked at each other through the gentle breeze, moving closer at the same time, but with every step, the warmth on my face rose a little more. It felt like this was our first proper date, just the two of us, so nervous that my palms were sweating. I almost dropped the crystal ball I was holding. Benjamin's steady, low voice came from above. Teacher Lin, it's a pleasure to see you here. I quietly adjusted my breathing before looking up, restoring my calm and composed presence in front of the camera. Director Jean, I'm also very glad to see you. When our eyes met, his deep gaze made my heart flare for a moment. Silently, I shifted my gaze to the crystal ball in my hand. I wanted to know who it truly belonged to, but I was afraid that if I heard a harsh answer, I wouldn't be able to respond gracefully in the moment, and the gossip accounts would make a big deal out of it. Even if I'm heartbroken, I have to go home and let it out. In front of the camera, I can't lose my composure. Besides, I'll find out the answer sooner or later, so there's no rush right now. After a moment's thought, I politely and subtly said, "This crystal ball is beautiful. Thank you for your gift." Benjamin Jean paused briefly, then politely replied, "You're welcome." Sigh. Director Jin's disappointment was almost written all over his face. It was clearly a gift for Camila, but now it was in someone else's hands. Hopefully, Jasmine will keep her distance from our Camila's childhood sweetheart. LOL. You might as well patent Director Gene, this line is all yours. Since you're on a dating reality show, every guest has the right to get to know each other and ship, there's no need to be so hostile toward the other female guests. Others said agree, and it's clear these two have no feelings for each other. They're just keeping things civil. We walked side by side through the streets of the harbor city, always about half a meter apart. We didn't even try to find topics to talk about, just casually chatting now and then about the city's culture and vibe. So Camila and Benjamin's ship fans quietly kept their feelings to themselves. It was clearly just business, with no hint of romantic sparks, time to let it go. But when we passed by the food street, we naturally turned in. Benjamin knew my taste so well that without a single glance, he was already lining up at the stall I was interested in. I thought of my agent's advice and hesitated for a moment. Benjamin seemed to see right through my thoughts and chuckled softly. Just have a little of everything. You won't gain weight. I nodded firmly. You're right. The bullet comments then said. Why do these two somehow feel like an old married couple? Don't force the ship combo. They didn't do anything. Just went shopping. If there's even a spark between them after all this avoidance, I'll eat my keyboard. Not necessarily. In an interview, she once said she likes to wander aimlessly on unfamiliar streets during her free time. So I think Director Gene is probably really her fan. You fans, stop fantasizing, okay? The overbearing CEO ignores the rich and beautiful, and would fall for me. A divorced single mom? Yeah, and honestly, I think Jasmine is way too dramatic. Don't you? Hey, you upstairs, are you okay? She's a female celebrity, managing her figure well and still getting hate. But both their conversations are meaningful. Super smart vibes, I actually quite enjoy watching it. Just saying, is Director Gene really not Nate's dad? Aw, even the way he talks sounds like it. After dinner, we got ready to head back. Passing by a toy store, I spotted a set of fighter jet model building blocks through the window. Nate likes watching military channels, so he'd probably be interested in this set of building blocks. I instinctively turned to ask Benjamin, do you think our son would like it? The moment I noticed the camera, I realized and quickly tried to cover up. I want to buy a set for my son and was hoping you could help me decide. The warm lighting in the store softened the lines of his profile. Benjamin looked at me steadily. He'll like it. I looked away but couldn't help smiling faintly. The bullet comments read, these two are hopeless on their first date. She's already talking about her son. That's clearly a sign of rejection. No chance at all. Like Director Gene would ever notice her. These two just don't click at all. Unlike the couple next door, their interactions are way too sweet. Yes, I'm absolutely sure Luis is here for Camila. Handsome guy. Beautiful girl. I totally approve of this match. Ah, are you okay? Camila is about to be completely overwhelmed by Luis. Did you know? Luis giving his own album is one thing, but setting up a record player just for her to listen? Did he even think about how Camila feels? This is the first time I really noticed Luis's acting. His intense feelings are obviously just an act. No shyness facing the girl guest he likes. Only an appreciation for his own terrible singing and a stubborn cling to the girl's ship. Seriously. I'm dying here. Yeah. Camila just stared at the sea on the cruise, totally avoiding eye contact with Luis. Afraid he'd come up with some sneaky move next. So funny. Back at the villa entrance, I ran into Camila, looking exhausted but still trying to stay polite. When she saw Benjamin and me standing together, her expression shifted slightly, then forced a smile once the camera caught her, though it looked pretty strained no matter how you looked at it. Though it was just a subtle change in expression, it made me certain she wasn't completely indifferent to Benjamin. Chapter 9. That night's live broadcast created countless unforgettable moments. The pair with the most heat and controversy was still Luis and Camila. Ship fans and the exclusive fans from both sides clashed fiercely, making this show explode in popularity with unprecedented buzz. The next day, the number of viewers in the live room hit a new record. Unexpectedly, besides a few fans and onlookers, a so-called cult of ship fans for me and Benjamin also emerged. This has to be credited to Camila's fans, who stayed up all night editing a heartbreaking video about childhood sweethearts being torn apart that went viral. Then, surprisingly, someone made a dating video of Benjamin and me, carefully analyzing our micro-expressions. People unfamiliar with the story called it so sweet, while those who watched the show said it was uncanny. As a result, The comment section was flooded again. This event was a flag-pulling battle, divided into male and female teams. The winners earned the privilege to invite someone of the opposite sex they were interested in to dinner. When the director announced the rules, I noticed someone's gaze. When I turned my head, I met Benjamin's gaze. A flicker of worry in his eyes caught my attention. Seeing me look over, he averted his eyes, revealing the smooth, defined lines of his profile. I instinctively touched the womb-warming patch on my lower abdomen. This morning, I found a pack of womb-warming patches and a box of brown sugar ginger tea left at the door. The only person who knows about my period is Benjamin. That's when I noticed he was wearing a gray casual outfit today, relaxed and easygoing. Like a college student. Back when we were married, I was used to seeing him in suits. This look was a surprisingly fresh change. I couldn't help but steal a few more glances. Especially when Benjamin's Adam's apple bobbed, it looked incredibly sexy. Human thought naturally tends to wander. The small, overlooked details in my memory suddenly became vividly clear in that moment. In the dim light, the forehead slick with fine sweat, the chest marked by fierce red scratches, and the burning palms. Standing beside him, the lawyer Diego cleared his throat just in time to break my inappropriate train of thought. When he looked over, he waved his hand at me, suppressing a teasing smile at the corner of his mouth. As if he could see right through me, I suddenly felt my face flush and instinctively looked away. Camila and Luis getting back together sent the bullet comment ship fans into a collective frenzy. Once the match started, I decided to take care of my body and pace myself. Camila, however, broke her usual pattern and unleashed an incredible fighting spirit. Her eyes fixed solely on victory. The bullet comments poured in again. Camila has completely dropped her expression management and just wants to claim victory. You can tell she's been tormented by Luis and just wants a change. Haha. Anyone with eyes can see they really enjoyed that date. It's a mutual pursuit. A two-way street. Exactly. Luis never took his eyes off Camila. Wow. I'm really enjoying this. Anyone with eyes won't take the blame. This is pure nonsense. Hopeless stuff. Don't get your hopes up. Just wait and see who she picks. Then you'll know. Don't even try to get involved. We childhood sweethearts are the real ship. In the boys' group, Benjamin was leading effortlessly. He's been working out for years, so his muscles are firm and strong, not just for show. Near the finish line, Diego seemed to shout something at him, but I was too far away to hear clearly. Suddenly, everything changed. Amid everyone's shocked faces, Benjamin abruptly turned and ran toward me, his expression tight. He stopped right in front of me, seemed about to reach out but held back, and seriously sized me up from head to toe. I was stunned and stiff, and asked dryly, "What's wrong?" Only then did he relax and let out a soft breath. "I thought you were hurt. I'm glad you're okay." Meanwhile, the victorious Diego smiled with his eyes narrowed, like a sly old fox who just pulled off a clever trick. What is this? What is this about? So, what exactly did Diego just say? The camera was too far away to catch it. And I'm dying to know. No way. The cult ship group can't be real. I'm totally shocked. Diego must be bluffing about a female guest getting hurt. He just instinctively looked back. But shouldn't his first reaction have been to check on Camila? Why did he run straight to Jasmine? Seeing that Camila and Monica are fine, it has to be Jasmine. He probably went to check out of courtesy. Yeah, that must be it. What Diego actually said remains a mystery. Only the director and staff nearby suddenly widened their eyes, as if they'd just uncovered a big secret. A few seconds later, he burst out laughing wildly. Haha, this is brilliant. I knew this show was a hit. Chapter 10. By nightfall, only Luis and I were left in the villa. Camila and Diego, having successfully claimed the flag, exercised the privileges they'd earned. Benjamin and Monica, as invited guests, were dining with them at the moment. When I came downstairs for a drink, I happened upon Luis sitting alone on the sofa. His head bowed. There was no overhead light on, just a dim floor lamp casting a lonely, desolate shadow of him, under the subtle gaze of the staff. I immediately realized whose little idea this was. With such a talent for setting the mood, it's a shame not to be a set designer. I'm sure the bullet comments are flooded with sympathy right now. Luis noticed me, lifted his dull eyes, and forced a smile to greet me. No way out, I had to walk over to him. pretending to be surprised. Mr. Han, did you fall asleep on the sofa? Luis was speechless after not hearing a satisfactory answer. He gave a fragile smile. No, I just wanted some quiet. Yesterday's date was pretty nice, but I didn't expect her to pick someone else today. Luis Han took a deep breath. I just feel a little unsettled inside. I know he wants to project a deeply devoted image, but too much of anything can backfire. This is a live broadcast, there's no taking back what you say, and he actually said something so obviously self-deprecating and foolish. Irrational fans will feel sorry for him but attack Camila, and it'll turn into a messy storm that only damages public opinion. I kept my tone gentle, since this is a dating reality show. Each guest needs to get to know each other, that's part of being responsible for your own and others' feelings. This is only the first date. Take it slow. No need to rush. Luis's face showed a brief flicker of awkwardness. Then he nodded, trying to look relieved. You're right. I was too impatient. Let's take it slow. After a few more casual pleasantries, I quickly found an excuse to head back to my room. At that moment, the bullet comments read, "A heart given in vain. Camila doesn't deserve it." Now I think Jasmine is pretty good. Jasmine, I remember giving you a chance. Didn't I? This strong guy still has the nerve to act all moody. If you hadn't seen the first episode, you might actually feel sorry for him. He deliberately plays the victim to lead fans to attack the female artists he's worked with. Classic Luis move. Always playing the straightforward, genuine guy role. But honestly, I think you're the most scheming one. Speechless. I spent the whole afternoon looking forward to the date tonight, but she turned around and chose someone else. Can we, Luis, even be a little sad? Your TV show ship is already a thing of the past. Now it's our childhood sweetheart's time to shine. I was already annoyed seeing Benjamin on a date with someone else. And then I bumped into a poser while just grabbing a drink. Talk about bad luck. Camila is interested in Benjamin. So is he really here for Camila? Just thinking about the possibility of mutual pursuit between them makes my chest tighten. Might as well go to bed early and put on a sleep mask. I never expected that. Boosted by the live stream's effect and contrast. That high EQ remark would somehow win me 3 waves of fans. One wave was casual fans who think I'm a decent person. Another wave was Luis's fans, who praised me for being considerate while putting down Camila. The most unexpected was Camila's fans. My objective and rational comments made them think I have good character, and some even apologized for having criticized me. And after I fell into a deep sleep, several trending searches quietly rose to the top. Hashtag Camila Benjamin Beach Date Hashtag. Hashtag Camila Luis Benjamin Date Expression Comparison Hashtag. Hashtag Camila Blushing Childhood Sweethearts Ship is Real Hashtag. Hashtag Jasmine Health Enthusiast Hashtag. A few minutes later, a trending search quickly shot up to number 1, tagged with a big explosive label. Hashtag Benjamin mentioned his own son Camila expressed love for kids Hashtag. Chapter 11. It felt like everything suddenly fell apart overnight. Camila, shedding her usual cautious and reserved demeanor, confidently showed her admiration and fondness for Benjamin, actively looking for chances to talk to him. After running into a few walls there, Luis wasn't sure if he was embarrassed or just decided to switch up the ship and stir things up. He's clinging to me. Jasmine is still too decent. I almost wanted to slap her. She's rejected so clearly, yet they still cling to the ship. Xing. Be good. Let's pack up and leave in the next couple of days. Luis doesn't seem real. How about this? I feed him a pack of rat poison. And if he dies, he's just a rat. Hard to say. A few days ago, he was so affectionate to Camila. I was almost moved. Now he's copy-pasting the same to Jasmine. Haha. What's real after all? Camila can be replaced by anyone. But we, Luis, can't be replaced. Besides, Luis doesn't even mind Jasmine raising their child after the divorce. What right does she have to refuse? Benjamin is also raising a child after divorce, repeatedly turning down Camila. You say he's insecure and afraid to respond, calling the glamorous actress a humble stay-at-home dad crush. But when it comes to Jasmine, she should be grateful. She's rich and beautiful, could marry 80 times over, and your greasy guy doesn't stand a chance. I suddenly have a strange suspicion. Jasmine and Benjamin both have sons, and Benjamin's voice sounds a lot like Nate's dad. Nate's dad hasn't posted a video this week. Could their sons be the same kid? What the person upstairs said was a bit strange, but it kind of makes sense. Only Monica and Diego seem to have plans to get to know each other better since their first date. And their relationship is steadily growing warmer. I lay in the rocking chair under the beach hut, sipping juice and trying to make sense of the relationship between Camila and Benjamin. From what I've seen, they haven't shown any signs of intimacy in public over the past few days. His attitude toward Camila remains polite and clearly respects boundaries. It's as if that night was just a simple dinner together. But Benjamin has always been a decent guy. Maybe it's just to spare the feelings of his plastic ex-wife like me. Maybe they've kissed so much in private their lips are worn out. I thought back to why I joined the show in the first place. In the first scenario, Benjamin doesn't like anyone. He's just lonely and looking for company on the show. Then Camila and I can compete fairly. Once I'm sure of my feelings, I'm never the type to back down. Besides, the advantage is on my side. We have a child together. That's one win. We were married for 2 years. Still unfamiliar. Still fresh. That's 2 wins. I've won twice already. This is the 3rd win. In the second scenario, Benjamin and Camila are mutually pursuing each other, with her appearing on the show. I don't usually interact much with Camila, so I can use the show as a chance to get a sense of her character. If she turns out to be a good person, then I won't have to worry about Nate being treated unfairly. If not, I'll have to make other arrangements for our child. The third, most self-absorbed scenario is that he has a crush on me. Just thinking about that possibility made it hard to keep a straight face. No matter which scenario plays out, it seems there's no downside for me, so I decided to take the initiative and test the waters. Just as I was about to get up, Luis's face appeared above my line of sight. Chapter 12. Did I scare you? He laughed warmly and sat down right beside me. I quietly put some distance between us. Mr. Han, what are you doing here? He looked at me with those warm, affectionate peach blossom eyes, one hand casually resting on the back of my lounge chair. Why don't you call me Luis? That's what my close friends call me. I forced a polite smile and changed the subject. You came all this way. Is there something you need from me? He shyly scratched the back of his head, showing just the right touch of boyish embarrassment. I think you were right that night. Since you're on a dating reality show, you should spend more time interacting with the other guests to get to know them. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and said, "Heh, pretty good." He pressed his lips together and looked at me, his Adam's apple bobbing. So, Teacher Lin, the director has called for a meeting. When I heard Benjamin's voice cutting in, it felt like a huge relief, and I stood up without hesitation. Mr. Han, let's go. Jasmine, wait. It's too sunny. Why don't you use my jacket to shield yourself from the sun? Hearing that name, Benjamin looked at him calmly. No need. I brought a sunshade umbrella. Luis looked into his supposedly gentle eyes, but it felt like his throat was tightening, and the motion to take off his jacket froze. Diego followed from behind, grinning as he patted him on the shoulder. Didn't you say you wanted to meet other people? A newcomer's coming today. Are you excited? Luis forced a laugh. Excited. Let's go. Benjamin opened his umbrella, effortlessly leaning over me halfway, tilting his head to look at me. His expression stayed calm, but I could clearly sense the change in his emotions. He was angry. The last time I saw him angry was when the partner company's son hurt Nate's temple during a fight over a toy. The child refused to apologize, and the partner company excused him, saying it was just kids playing around. Benjamin asked them politely to leave with a gentle expression, but the next moment announced the immediate end of all cooperation with that company, leaving no room for negotiation. I met his deep gaze and suddenly felt like saying something. Thank you for picking me up. I'm really happy. Benjamin was briefly stunned, then smiled. You're welcome. The bullet comments were totally confused. Am I still half asleep? My eyesight isn't great. But was that director Jean having a jealous showdown with Luis just now? This world is crazy. Mice are even acting as bridesmaids for cats. Did I really miss a few episodes? There's this absurd feeling when two people with no connection suddenly end up walking in each other's shoes. Every time I see them together, it seems polite and formal, but there's always this vague, hard to explain sense of closeness. My sixth sense has never been wrong. Someone disagreed and said, helping hold an umbrella doesn't mean anything. It's just a gentlemanly gesture. Don't read too much into it. Chapter 13. Just as I changed clothes and was about to go downstairs to greet the new guest, My wrist was suddenly grabbed. I turned around but didn't have time to react before he quietly led me to a storage room in the corner without cameras. Leaning against the door, that restless feeling of having nowhere to rest my eyes came over me again. The familiar, subtle scent slowly invaded my nostrils, like a virus rushing through my bloodstream straight to my heart, making it tremble and spasm. The noisy sounds outside the door gradually faded away, and the closeness between us made it hard to breathe. A burning heat quickly spread from my face through my entire body. I've never felt anything as agonizing and yet as wonderful as this before. Benjamin looked down at me, and whether it was seconds or centuries later, I finally heard his voice. "Your collar button is undone." I looked up sharply, hardly able to believe it. "You brought me here just to say that?" Benjamin's eyes showed a flicker of confusion and disbelief. He paused for a moment, then nodded honestly. I let out a bitter laugh for no reason. Shame and anger shot straight to my head, overwhelming my reason in an instant. I stepped forward, tilted my head up, and only stopped when I clearly saw the stubble on his face. Benjamin held his breath, unable to control it. I curled my lips. "Then could you please help me button it up?" "Okay." His expression showed relief, but his eyes flickered with a shadow of something unclear. I brushed my hair aside, and Benjamin moved around behind me, careful and gentle, as if afraid of hurting me. "Director Jean, are you always this attentive with every woman?" "For no particular reason." I suddenly felt like asking that. Benjamin froze in place. "What?" "Nothing. Let's go." I was annoyed at my own impulsiveness as I reached to turn the door handle. Benjamin gripped my wrist again, his voice soft. "I've only ever done this for you." I stopped in my tracks and looked him straight in the eyes. The usually calm, deep lake surface was now turbulent, as if any misstep would drag me under and slowly consume me, sending a chill down my spine. I didn't know where the courage came from, but I grabbed his collar, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him. My heart raced, my palms grew damp, and my breath faltered. A touch, then a part. I didn't run away this time. I quietly waited for his answer. After the sudden shock faded, Benjamin held my gaze tightly, his eyes deepening in a way that sent an inexplicable shiver down my spine. As my lower back was wrapped in a reassuring strength that pushed me forward, my hand rested on Benjamin's chest. Now, there was no distance left between us. Just as Benjamin lowered his head to kiss me back, the door was knocked on by the staff. "Teacher Lin, Teacher Jean, are you in there?" I covered Benjamin Jin's mouth. My eyes curved in a silent smile as I mouthed words without sound. "Don't keep them waiting too long." At that moment, I knew his answer. It was the third possibility. Chapter 14. Two new guests joined. One is a well-known male singer Lazaro, and the other is a designer for a contemporary luxury clothing brand Anna. To help them blend in smoothly, Monica suggested playing some icebreaker games after the meal to get to know each other better. Diego immediately responded. "How about playing you have? I don't. The loser drinks a cocktail I make." Everyone knew the game well and quickly formed a circle. Diego started, smiling as he looked around the circle. "There's someone here I want to get to know better." Everyone instinctively glanced at a slightly blushing Monica and teased her with playful laughter. Only Lazaro and Anna, the two newcomers, bent a finger. Lazaro, with a strong sense of variety show humor, quickly responded, bullying the newbies. "Huh, then I'll go. I've released songs before." Everyone bent a finger except Luis, who looked smug. Anna, generous by nature, quickly caught on and copied the move. "I've designed clothes." The group reluctantly bent a finger, protesting. "Don't play like that." She shrugged. "No choice, I don't dare drink that." It was a drink that looked impossible for anyone to drink, and it seemed to have chili powder added. Lazaro raised his hand shyly. "Does knitting a sweater count?" Monica, haha. "I majored in fashion design in college, didn't see that coming." "Did you?" She went on. "I once won the most influential beauty creator award." "Don't blame me, I didn't want to drink either." Camila lowered her head. "Thinking for a moment, I saw the river at 3 in the morning when I was 16. Only Benjamin and Camila kept their fingers straight, without bending them. With the rumors about childhood sweethearts combined with that comment, it's hard not to read more into their relationship. No one spoke, but their eyes kept flickering back and forth between the two of them. "Ha." I guess it's my fault for waking up too late. I've only ever seen the river at 7 in the morning when I was 16. A sharp gaze landed on my face. The owner of that gaze was right beside me on the left. It was impossible not to notice. I smiled and tilted my head toward Benjamin. What? Showing off that you got up earlier than me? Bullet comments said. Why do I relate so much to Director Jean? Watching this part, I was so tense I couldn't even breathe. Wow. Everyone's expressions are so vivid. That kid Diego's sly smile means he definitely knows some inside story. This is the kind of experience only childhood sweethearts share, by the river at 3 in the morning. There's a story! Do you want to see Director Jean who he's been staring at? That nervous look. Like he's afraid Jasmine will misunderstand. But what exactly is their relationship? Hey, I just remembered, I also saw the river at 3 in the morning when I was 16. Diego happily raised his bent finger again. Seeing everyone looking at him suspiciously, he quickly said, if you don't believe me, I'll show you the photos later. I failed back then and was afraid my dad would cook bamboo shoots with meat. So I hid outside all night. Monica laughed. Wouldn't that make the consequences even worse for you? How did you know? Later, my mom joined in too, and it turned into a mixed doubles match. Everyone burst out laughing, and the mood instantly lightened. When it was my turn, I only had one finger left, so I had to pull out my secret move. I have a lovely son. Everyone except Benjamin and me bent down their fingers, and once again, we became the center of attention. Lazaro sighed. Why not a lovely daughter? So close. Anna high-fived him. What a coincidence. I also have a lovely daughter. Bullet comments said. I was speechless. What are these parents doing on a dating reality show? Are they trying to show me a story about parental love? The description clearly says this is a dating reality show for mature singles. Does being divorced mean you're not allowed to look for true love? It's a two-way choice. No one's hiding anything. And honestly, I love watching it. It's all scripted anyway. Do you really think they're here to find love? They're just creating personas to get views. Since it's already a mess, might as well make the script even more dramatic. I can handle it. The next moment, Benjamin's calm voice sounded. I have a lovely son with someone here. Chapter 15. The live stream crashed from too many viewers flooding in at once and had to be cut off. Winning or losing this game didn't matter anymore. Diego's eyes were wide open, wider than I'd ever seen them. He downed the drink he'd mixed in one gulp, barely holding back the WTF about to slip out. The director frantically reached out to the tech team for emergency repairs. He glanced at both me and the culprit with a mix of love and hate. Equally stunned, we had half an hour to pack up and get ready for the next spot, a 3-day, 2-night camping date on the grass. Time's tight, and gossiping eyes are everywhere. Luckily, the live streaming setup isn't ready yet, so I slipped into his room when no one was looking. He was standing there shirtless, about to change clothes. He froze for a moment, then laughed softly. Should I call the cops for harassment now? I was too embarrassed to hold back, so I rushed up to him and looked up, questioning him. Cut it out. You just went all out in the game. How are we supposed to end this now? Benjamin's smile slowly faded. End this? Jasmine, aren't you going to take responsibility for me? I was stunned. I never said that. I came for you. Benjamin stepped closer, his tall figure completely enveloping me. He took a deep breath before speaking slowly. Your tablet was left at the old residence earlier. I saw your schedule included this show, and among the male guests was Luis. Your ship is really popular, with countless fan works everywhere. I was worried about you. I cut him off. Wait, you think I'd catch feelings for Luis because of the show? He pressed his lips together, his voice low. At first, I had that concern, but after seeing all the ridiculous things he did on the show, I dismissed the idea. Your taste isn't that bad. He really is pretty narcissistic. I watched your expression. You showed no surprise at all that I came on this show. Like you knew I'd be here all along. The first possibility is that you don't care about me at all. The second is that your control over micro-expressions is absolutely flawless. The third is... Benjamin suddenly sat down at the foot of the bed, tentatively took my hand, and only held it firmly when he saw I didn't pull away. Can I narcissistically believe that you don't completely lack feelings for me either? At that moment, his perspective shifted from looking down to looking up. Seeing his cautious gesture and question, a sudden tightness gripped my chest. It turns out I wasn't the only one pacing back and forth, tossing and turning these past few days. The more mature we become, the more timid we get when it comes to love. Even tentative words have to be rehearsed over and over. Suddenly, I just wanted to throw caution to the wind. Strictly speaking, Benjamin was my first love, so why can't I be honest with my own heart just this once? Hearing what he said during the game, I was shocked, but beneath that, a slow-blooming sweetness. I was simply moved. I simply liked him. I simply wanted to respond, so I looked into his eyes and gave him a clear, affirmative answer. Yes, I came here just for you, Benjamin. I like you. He smiled softly, his eyes shining, but then suddenly filled with tears. Jasmine, thank you for liking me too. I was taken aback. I never imagined the word cry would ever be linked to Benjamin. I quickly and awkwardly tried to wipe them away for him. Director Jean. Aw, you. Diego suddenly appeared at the door, staring at me with wide eyes. My hand was still gently resting on Benjamin's face. Chapter 16. He blinked in surprise a second time and quickly bowed. Sorry, I forgot to knock again with my clumsy hands. I'll definitely fix this habit next time. Please, go on. My face flushed instantly, but I forced myself to stay calm. It's okay. I'm leaving now. You can come in. After rushing out, I even ran into some other guests. Fortunately, although they smiled knowingly, they only cleared their throats twice in front of me before steering clear of the topic. Except for Luis, whose expression was complicated and laced with anger, as if I had toyed with his feelings. During that time, I also met up with Camila. She came looking for me. I was a little surprised. Is there something you want to talk about? Camila closed the door and looked at the jasmine crystal ball on my bedside table. After a brief moment of distraction, she lowered her eyes. Congratulations in advance. I didn't say anything. She kept talking to herself. Benjamin lived with his grandmother when he was little, which is how we met. Even after he transferred schools, he often came to visit his grandmother. From the moment I first liked him, I secretly had a crush on him. I never thought he'd marry you. When I found out your marriage was arranged and ended quickly in divorce, I thought I had a chance. I joined this show to be brave for once, but I didn't expect he truly loves you. We're both actors, but some reactions just can't be faked. You like him too, don't you? I nodded without hesitation. Yes. Then there's nothing we can do about it. Camila looked at me, tugging at the corner of her mouth. Since you both like each other, I can't just pretend I don't notice and keep being an awkward presence. Don't worry. It won't happen again. I'm giving up. I felt a mix of emotions, paused for a moment, and said to her, then I wish you great success in your career, and may everything go smoothly from now on. Camila smiled. Of course, I'll genuinely wish you both well and bow out gracefully. That kind of image is more likable than someone who clings on hopelessly. If it helps me gain a few more fans, then it's not a wasted effort. That's how we strong women are. We never forget to focus on our careers, no matter what. Just as she was about to push the door open and leave, she paused and turned back. Oh, by the way, that line I mentioned in the game about watching the river at 3 in the morning when I was 16, that was because my parents were going through a divorce, and I was being bullied at school. The pressure was overwhelming, and I had some dark thoughts for a moment. It was Benjamin's grandmother who came looking for me. So don't misunderstand. She said it so casually, but it's not hard to imagine how helpless that girl must have felt back then. I said sincerely, it's really impressive that you've come this far. You too. May we meet again on a higher podium. Sincerely. Chapter 17. When we reached the campsite, the live stream finally went back to normal. The director watched the flood of viewers pouring in, a smile never leaving his face. The bullet comments started getting excited again. Mysterious. This time we really got played by the capital. Damn it. So you all have kids but still pretend not to know us and mess with us? Do you think I have all the time in the world? Woo-woo. Who understands? I only dare to secretly ship their group. Afraid others will call me a cult. If you still have a conscience, apologize to me immediately. Oh my god. Director Jean. Are you really Nate's dad? The voice matches. The timing matches. Even the mom is busy at this time part fits. Who is Nate's dad? Secretary. Go check it out quickly. Another reply, one of my favorite parenting bloggers. Nate is my cyber son. Aw, so well-behaved and adorable. Can someone explain what's really going on? So who ended up drinking that cup? Hurry up and tell us. As the show went on, Benjamin's cover was about to be blown. The director clearly has no intention of answering any questions right now. We're starting to decide on the third date. There are 4 gifts on the table, each with a card underneath. And I immediately recognized the one from Benjamin because it was the City Edition toy car I bought for our son during a family trip. Seriously, that's totally cheating. Camila curved her lips in response. The other 2 also caught on and coughed with a smile. Let them choose first. I have no objections. Yeah, I agree. Anna and Camila exchanged a glance and nudged me and Monica forward. Everyone could see that. For now, only 2 pairs were mutual, so they generously and openly pitched in. I didn't hesitate either and took the little toy car. I opened the card, and it said, "No kids this time. Just the 2 of us on a date, okay?" Nate knew it was time to get angry. Thinking this, I couldn't help but let a small smile slip, a faint warmth spreading across my face. Our first one-on-one date after reconnecting, it felt exciting. Back at the tent, I paused for a moment, grabbed a card, and started to draw a return gift. Benjamin took it, and I turned and walked away quickly, afraid he might catch up to me. He watched my light, brisk figure as I walked away. After a long moment, he lowered his head, but the instant he saw the drawing, his ears flushed red. He raised his hand to touch the tip of his nose, hiding the slight curve at the corner of his lips that he couldn't hold back. Ah, what exactly is written on the card? Jasmine, what did she draw? Why won't they let me see? The director's being tricky, deliberately not showing the details. They'll only reveal it as a bonus after the show ends. They're teasing me on purpose. I admit he succeeded. So annoying. But the interactions between this mischievous couple are really sweet. Like young lovers in their first relationship. It makes me smile without even realizing it. Once you have kids, what's the point of pretending to be innocent? It's all just a script. Anyone who believes it is a fool. Chapter 18. Benjamin and I's rare one-on-one date was still quiet and uneventful. Eating, shopping, watching movies, things many couples find boring were all new and exciting firsts for us. Even accidental eye contact and physical touch made our hearts race without us realizing it. After a whole day, in front of the camera, we still interacted with a shy, reserved awkwardness. It wasn't until we got back to the campsite that, after getting out of the car, I accidentally stepped on a stone and lost my balance. Benjamin was quick to steady me. "Did you hurt your foot?" I twisted my ankle and said, "No." The grip on my wrist gradually loosened, not releasing me, but slowly sliding down until our palms met. I looked up and saw him nervously pressing his lips together, his eyes full of questions. "Is that okay?" I answered by slipping my fingers between his, our hands interlacing. "So this is how his palm feels, dry but warm." Benjamin paused for a moment, then curved his lips into a smile that spread from his eyes. I had run out of courage, turning my head away, unable to meet his gaze. So, just like that, holding hands all the way, he walked me back to the tent. It's so strange, such a long walk. "So why did it feel so quick today?" Bullet Comments said, "I also find it strange. Both of them already have kids. Yet just holding hands makes my heart race. Ah, saying goodnight after dropping me off feels so intimate." The most unlikely couple has become my favorite ship. Monica and Diego are such funny people. I ship them hard too. Can they just walk together all night? Staying up late to watch them is totally fine with me. I'm not really into watching it. I just feel sorry for my Camila being treated like part of some game. She's a star, and I can't imagine how much courage it took for her to openly show her feelings, only for it to end like this. Speechless. Haven't you all been hyping up the childhood sweethearts ship? But Benjamin and Jasmine already have a kid. How could Camila not know? So why is she rushing in like this? Being on this show means they're divorced, right? So what if they're pursuing new relationships? All 3 are very straightforward. No one's deliberately stringing anyone along. While I ship this young couple, I also admire Camila's generous and carefree way of giving her blessing. Yeah, Camila's date this time is Lazaro. They've known each other for a long time and are good friends. When they're together, It's just pure conversation, no emotional exhaustion like with Luis. No tension like with Benjamin. This relaxed and easygoing vibe is truly her. Speechless. Luis is probably the kind of guy who can't sleep alone at night, right? He sees a female guest and immediately tries to stir up some ambiguous drama. Feeling sorry for Anna. Someone chimed in, already unfollowed and criticized. Luis is really disgusting. What happened? I only follow XX. Sorry for interrupting. Just listening in. Trending search. The third date sparked intense controversy on this dating reality show. Keeping its popularity high and steadily climbing, Camila's support and encouragement completely ended the childhood sweetheart ship. Bystanders admired her grace. Fans felt sorry for her while criticizing me and Benjamin. My fans and the new ship fans naturally fought back to defend us. And Luis's fans tore me and Camila apart mercilessly. Until Luis's drunken remarks made it onto the trending search. Maybe it was the way Camila and I ignored and avoided him that had already upset him. And my situation with Benjamin became the tipping point. Anna got a gift from Luis, who picked a quiet bar for their date. He pulled the same old stunt again, trying to make fans feel sorry for him. Maybe under the dim lights and the influence of alcohol, he forgot he was live and just couldn't hold back. He said things like how Camila and I gave him hope, only for him to turn around and fall into someone else's arms. Anna couldn't help but urge him to stay rational, but it only triggered his emotional flare-up. He muttered, "Women really are so practical." The moment he said that, the room fell completely silent. Luis realizing what he'd said, his face went pale. He forced a stiff smile and tried to backtrack. But words once spoken are like water spilled, they can't be taken back. That phrase quickly became a trending search. Many of his inappropriate remarks were uncovered, sparking public outrage. Soon after, a post surfaced in the public eye. The title read, "Practical? Who's more practical than you?" It recounts Luis's romantic experiences from when he was still a bar singer. After becoming an internet celebrity, he immediately broke up with his long-term girlfriend and crafted a single persona, even exploiting that relationship to build a sentimental image and attract fans. Later, he dated several wealthy girlfriends, using them to continuously gain resources until he landed a likable role and shot to fame. He always talks about an amicable breakup, wearing a sentimental expression and deliberately using ambiguous words to make others think he was the one who got hurt. His ex-girlfriends have their own unspeakable grievances. Until this time, when the wall came crashing down and everyone piled on, several ex-girlfriends shared their experiences of being cyberbullied along with chat records. They wrote, "You can clearly see the shameless, angry face of this freeloading man. I said before that this Luis sounded off, and got chased and scolded by his fans. Now I finally get it." Feeling for Jasmine and Camila, the main figures being exploited for hype, yet still having to endure rumors and insults from his fans. The situation for female artists is definitely much tougher than for male artists. Those disrespectful male artists have fans defending them, but female artists get criticized, insulted, and slandered with false rumors even when they haven't done a single thing wrong. It's really hard. According to the contract, Luis can't quit filming halfway, but he's already been completely socially dead and sidelined. It's easy to imagine how much his future opportunities will shrink. Chapter 19. The show quickly moved into its final stages. On confession night, the question the audience most wanted answered was finally revealed. If it was mutual love, why did they get divorced in the first place? The night before joining this dating reality show, the director asked each of us to write a letter to our ideal partner. If you find the right person, the letter will be made public. If not, you can choose to keep it private. An hour before confession night, I finally got my phone and saw the letter Benjamin had written to me. By the time I reached the end, a hot tear fell onto the screen, and my fingers trembled uncontrollably. It turned out he had known me since he was 16. During that time, despite my dad's objections, I secretly went to audition, a small supporting role with barely any lines. Yet I was happy for a long time, so excited that I got up early to go for a run, wearing wired earphones. I was running up the bridge when I faintly heard a cry for help. I thought it was just my imagination until I glanced to the side and was instantly startled. A child, terrified after nearly drowning, kept thrashing about, ignoring the comforting words from the boy behind him. I could see the boy trying to save him was about to collapse from exhaustion. I shouted for help, but there was hardly anyone around. And I didn't have my phone, only an MP3 player with me. I had no choice but to jump in. After slapping the child hard a few times, he snapped out of it, and then the boy and I worked together to get him out of the water. Soon, adults arrived, leaving only me and the boy, who looked about my age. At the scene, I couldn't help but say to him, "What were you trying to prove? Before you try to save someone, you need to know if you have the strength for it." He sat on the ground with his head down, coughing twice, still stubborn. "I only feel like this because I caught a high fever after rescuing someone late at night the day before yesterday. I still have strength." I laughed in frustration. "Aw, yes, you have the most strength. If it weren't for me, you might as well take this story to the king of hell." He was speechless. As he turned to leave, I heard him quietly say thank you. Without looking back, I waved at him. "If you really want to thank me, just consider me your first fan. My name is Jasmine. You'll see me on TV someday. So be sure to remember that." From beginning to end, all I saw was a pale profile. Over time, I met so many people and went through so much that the small incident was long forgotten, let alone what the boy I saved looked like. But I never would have guessed he was Benjamin, the Benjamin I was arranged to marry. He really did keep his promise and became my very first fan. So, Gene gave a Jasmine crystal ball as a gift on the first episode of his show. It's pretty clear. Director Jin's nickname really is Jasmine's first fan. And all the reposts there are promotions for our ship's drama. Honestly, I was a fan of theirs too, always hunting for sweet moments. Later, I found many fan works I'd saved had disappeared. Could it be that Director Gene bought them all out? So miserable, he saw his wife with someone else's ship and ground his teeth, only to pay for his own pain. I had just wiped away my tears when I couldn't help but laugh out loud again at this part. He actually still has such a childish side. "Teacher Lin, we're ready to start recording." The staff saw my reddened eyes and quickly asked, "Are you okay?" I shook my head. I read everyone's letters and was really touched. She understood something, smiled sweetly in an instant, and lowered her voice to say to me, "Actually, I'm a fan of your and Director Gene's ship. You two have to be happy together forever." I smiled and replied, "Thanks for the good wishes. It definitely will be." The moment I pushed open the door, I took a deep breath. Benjamin stood in the center of the terrace, dressed in a sharp black suit. A sea of vivid red roses transformed this place into a floral ocean. I walked toward him step by step, wearing a white silk gown. Benjamin's slightly reddened eyes held a smile, his expression utterly gentle. He handed me a bouquet of fresh flowers, reaching out his hand to me. "Jasmine, would you be willing to start with a bouquet of flowers and spend the rest of our lives making up for the love we missed before marriage?" I understood the unfinished words he left unspoken. Our marriage was a brief transaction, yet I never imagined that the end of the story would be the beginning of our heart's awakening. Every day after that felt like the height of a passionate romance. Without hesitation, I slipped my hand into his warm, broad palm. "Benjamin, you know my answer is only one. I do." The moment we kissed, brilliant fireworks quietly blossomed across the sky. Chapter 20. The filming of the dating reality show Love Has Its Own Destiny officially ended, but its popularity only grew. The confession letters Benjamin and I wrote to each other have gone viral online. If his letter was a love letter written to me, then the letter I wrote was the story of how I fell for him. In short, it all comes down to just a few words: mutual secret crush. My leading lady political drama, prosperous era, also rode this wave of attention and officially announced its release date. The official Gene Group Weibo congratulated Benjamin and me on our reconciliation, even launching a cash red envelope giveaway, gaining over 1 million followers in a single day. My dad has always been sharp. Whenever he spots a profit, he's quick to jump in. They officially announced my identity as the daughter of the chairman of the Lin Group, and surprisingly, even promoted my show. You have to understand, he was against me acting from the start and never allowed me to lean on any influence from the Lin family. It's really so real and ironic. At that moment, the bullet comments read, "So it was an arranged marriage after all." Well, that makes sense. Marriage first, love later is pretty normal. Back then, we fans were mocked for being love-struck fools. But now seeing these two letters, it's clear, if she hadn't been forced, she wouldn't have given up her career. Somehow, I feel like crying. As a longtime fan, I was disappointed when she got married just as her career was taking off. Seeing her attacked and insulted without being able to defend herself was heartbreaking. But now that she's back, I feel like it was all worth it. Watching those behind-the-scenes clips, you can see how deeply she immerses herself in every role, learning tea ceremony etiquette, rehearsing fight scenes over and over without using a stunt double. She loves her craft more than anyone. Yes, we ship her and truly respect her as an actor. As long as she doesn't break the law, I will always support her unconditionally. I originally didn't feel much for her, but after getting hooked on this variety show, I became a ship fan. Then I binge-watched her earlier works overnight. Her acting is truly impressive. Now I'm a die-hard fan. Ship with that kind of determination. She's bound to succeed at anything. Just a casual fan here. Even after being criticized this harshly, she never complains or stirs up drama. Her fans are quite polite too. I'm planning to follow her dramas, but I'm pretty picky about acting. Thanks, babe. Let's take this chance to promote our ship show Prosperous Era, premiering on August 20th. Everyone's welcome to check it out. My agent, Eva, looked at me with admiration. You're something else. Quietly getting big things done. You should have said earlier that Lynn and Jean were backing you up, then I wouldn't have been so overwhelmed. Look, all the resources just came flooding in. So many directors are sending you scripts, plus invitations from major long-running variety shows and big brand endorsements. I'm giving you a few days off. Make sure you really enjoy this rare downtime. Sure enough, after this dating reality show ended, all the guests except Luis saw their value skyrocket. Camila's easygoing attitude on the show, being able to pick up and let go, won her a huge fanbase. Unexpectedly, after Camila's fans and my fans stood united and fought side by side during the Luis incident, they actually became surprisingly harmonious and friendly. They're both wonderful kids, kind and generous, truly appreciating each other. Our fans should cherish and protect this bond. The follow-up dating reality show bonus was released, along with the card from the third date. I drew a big tree with a female eagle and a young eaglet perched on it. This is what Benjamin said in the video when talking about dreams with his son. He'll know I watched his entire updated video as soon as he sees this painting. Taking this chance, I got to know him all over again. Now, it's not just him, everyone. All the fans have seen it. They all flooded the comments under the video account. Nate's dad, I knew it was you. I finally caught you red-handed. If you've got the guts, go on a show. Respond to us. Don't just hide at home in silence. I know you're watching. This guy is so calculating. When people ask if he's divorced, he stays silent. But he's quick to like comments praising his wife. The woman works outside while the man stays home. So you have it easier taking care of the kid, right? Director Jean is off filming shows. Can it really be easy? At first, I wasn't sure how to respond, until someone dug up a photo that confirmed everything. It was a picture of the three of us on a family outing. Even though we were all wearing masks, our silhouettes were easy to recognize. Someone said, at the time, I just thought this family of three looked stunning and perfectly balanced. Only after watching the show did I realize they were celebrities. I had just finished work when I saw the trending search and hurried back to the old residence. Whether to make it public still needs to be discussed with Nate. Unexpectedly, he spread his hands like a little adult. What's wrong with my own mom and dad? It's clearly you guys who are too shy. Don't make me a kid. Take the blame. Lying is bad. I was speechless. Benjamin rubbed his forehead too. No choice. Then let's just make it public. So this video was filmed by Nate himself. He obediently greeted the camera. Hello everyone. I'm Nate. Lots of aunties and uncles have been asking why we haven't posted updates. It's because mom and dad went on a date show, and they didn't bring me. That's just not fair. The netizens immediately blew up. They flooded the comments joking, Nate, if you knew your dad didn't want to take you next time, you'd be even more upset. Chapter 21. After my film was released, it went viral online and received rave reviews. My acting was once again recognized by countless people. A new fan, while looking back at my previous works, found a recording of the dating reality show Love Has Its Own Destiny. So this editing pro stayed up all night working on their computer. Unexpectedly, a few months later, the edited clips of the dating reality show featuring Benjamin and me went viral again. Flirting again after having a child, that would be a fatal mistake. When this topic topped the trending search, Benjamin was frying steak for me. I clung to his lean waist. Sticky and warm. In a few days, I'll be back on set. I'll miss you and our son. He paused, then chuckled softly. Then spend more time with us these days. Of course. At night, as usual, I read to Nate for a while. After he fell asleep, I covered him with a blanket and quietly stepped out, only to be startled by Benjamin leaning against the doorframe. I glared at him and asked through clenched teeth, "What are you standing there for?" He didn't answer but asked back, "Done spending time with our son?" "Yeah." "Then it's my turn now." He smiled, wrapped his arms around my waist, and carried me toward the room, until dawn was breaking. I bit down on his shoulder. "You bastard. You never said this was the kind of company you meant." He brushed aside the sweat-dampened strands of hair at my temple and kissed me again. "Well, now you know."